drop of 20 rupees to farm up rupees to go to Zora to get a bottle, to get ether on the sick kid. Mushroom's going to be in one of the ether lock dungeons, and you trade the mushroom for flippers.
That's so horrible, but I love how quickly you managed to pull that together. That's a lot better than I did. I'm glad I asked you. Well, looks like we're about to get started here. We have the invisible spray for mkosler, which is pretty awesome. That's actually very bold. Both of them. The uncle's going to tell us that he's not our real uncle, but who is he even talking to? We're going to get an early map check. We do find one pendant at Eastern.
And the 2 crystals at Desert and Hera are not going to be the 5-6 crystals. I think there are 1 and 7.
So here in the standard randomized swords mode, we're going to get some kind of weapon here from the uncle. Today it's going to be Fire Rod. Wow.
Toasty!
And with that, we're also going to have a number of ways to try and farm for the bomb that we want. We could possibly find one in a chest, maybe even here. Nope, it's going to be a piece of heart today. But we'll want to get one before the end of Escape so that we can open up the bombable wall in that last lit room before we go up the stairs. Well, this is kind of disorienting for me personally. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. It just seems like the game's completing itself.
Is it like one of those Mario Maker levels where you just press right and Mario just bounces all over the place and plays a cute little tune and just completes a level or something?
I think they call those dashies, but I'm not in that community. I don't want to speak for them. However, maybe they just accidentally hit like one of their number buttons on their emulator. They could have accidentally disabled one of the sprite layers.
Yeah, but wouldn't then all the enemies be invisible too? Ooh, that would be a great hard mode. You play with invisible Link, invisible enemies.
There are people out there who have done blindfold runs. Parisian Player comes to mind. So, I could see someone actually beating that. Also, an interesting thing our runners have to be careful of here is how much magic they use. There are some required kills. We have this green guard in this room that you see mkosler in, and the blue guard in the next room. We also have a ball and chain guard in the basement and a rat in the back half of Escape. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is definitely a toasty seed with them picking up the lamp in that chest there.
So, yeah, I don't even have a joke for that. It's just burning up over here.
All your jokes went up in smoke?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having the dunk. I wasn't trying to alley-be you. Also, I'm kind of surprised to see Fire Rods being used here. It is faster, but it is a little riskier to not be able to farm for those bombs with higher enemy densities. So both of our runners opting to do it for speed. I think they're confident they can find the right pots to throw.
Yeah, and I think at this skill level, there probably won't be a thing seen where if they do have to skip the back of Escape, that it probably won't be forgotten. I've seen that trip up people when they do not get the bombs or the boots in Escape here, that they end up leaving that location for very late, and when there's a needed item for progression back there, that can be, the start of a really bad time.
Another thing that could possibly be going on in our runners' heads is they may be considering what their opponent would have to deal with as well. Understanding basically that if they don't see it in the prize pack, their opponent isn't either. It's the same kind of RNG there. You have a 50% chance of getting these drops. And they will be in the same set as your opponent. But moving back through, there are a couple of opportunities to throw some pots here. We're going to see mkosler do that, getting nothing, unfortunately. He's going to Fire Rod that last guard. He's very pertinent on getting that, but doesn't come up with anything.
Numberplay is just going to go for the 1 and forge on.
Yeah, so with that extra magic, and there are some pots we can pick up, small magic decanters in the back half of Escape, but with the extra magic that he has, he might opt to burn some of the ropes.
Yeah, I think the good thing about Fire Rod Escape versus the other magic items is that all the enemies die from one shot of Fire Rod versus something like Cane of Burna where you need to hit them with, 3 shots of that little spinny bit.
Yeah, and the positioning is really difficult with Burna. Every enemy will go upwards when you do it, but we're going to see here that mkosler does burn some of them and gets the bomb drop.
I think he's got one shot left. He does. There are some magic pots underneath pots in the sewer section here, so at least he'll be able to grab that. But that was a nice shot to those snacks.
Yep, absolutely. That splash damage is pretty strong in just about every enemy dense area, and because the drops, like we said before, are in the same prize packs as their opponent, they do actually get bombs each of them. Well, we have to be very careful here, make sure we kill the key rat, and mkosler doesn't.
Yeah, it's very hard to hit the correct rat if you don't get it right when you walk in and they start moving around, but luckily there are two little tiny magic pots outside here, but we'll lose them some time as Numberplay is already heading back into the bombable wall of escape.
Well, we get a big 20, a blue goo, and a burrito, which means we absolutely have to check the sanctuary chest.
The good thing is with that early bottle, that's one extra check they can do in Kakariko Village once they head over in that direction.
Yep, we had to make sure we had the medicine for the sick kid, and mkosler getting his magic refund there on that last shot that he took. Well, so the priest here is saving something in that chest. We're about to find out. 25% reduced fat milk. It is vanilla. Almost. So the first thing that we see Numberplay do here out of the sanctuaries go west. He is going north, so it looks like he's going to check the bush crab for... Oh no, he's going to go towards the forest. He's not even going to check lumberjack or check the tree pole.
Yeah, doing the bottom entrance of the forest into the side entrance. I know a lot of runners, when they're at this skill level, they tend to save the lumberjack check for later, maybe when they're heading up towards Death Mountain if they get it that way. And he's just going to go skip that bee in a bottle, too. He's definitely, I guess, banking on, not needing any bottles or whatnot. But at this skill level, you really don't need to be taking any safety potions or anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of people really can do it with just about one, maybe even two. I'm surprised to see someone not take it early in the game, but it is just a B. And absolutely, like you're saying, I mean, if you get one blue potion and you play pretty well, I mean, if you never die normally, it'd be pretty smart to not have to worry about taking anything else. With 300 rupees, we are ready to go to the shopping mall, aren't we? That is what Kakariko is, right?
Pretty much. Numberplay going straight down to the sick kid with the bottle they got. Just for 20 rupees. So I guess the sick kid is the place where you return the items and get your money back?
Yeah, the refund center. All right, we finally have a sword. So this is very nice because if you're running out of magic like both these runners are, you need to have something to fend off these enemies with.
Ah yes, they didn't get any bomb drops in between End of Escape, and that's why they went down south first. Of course.
That makes a lot of sense, and mkosler is getting his 3 bombs from the merchant, so Numberplay is going to actually make an inefficient trade here.
Let's see what blind the thief has stolen today. A lot of arrows.
Yeah, not coming up big. It's been a rough season for criminals. But we will finish up another full heart container for mkosler there, and I believe Numberplay should have the exact same number. Well, that's a convenient health refill. We do still have a lot of items here in the well, though. 5 to speak of. Gonna throw that bomb because we can wait on the chest open, and we get a book.
And some more heart piece. Ooh, and gloves.
Now you're playing with power.
Oh, wait, so that means book plus fire plus gloves. That means desert is beatable now.
Yeah, desert's certainly on the menu, and if we have full magic, it's really not that bad at all. Ooh, and mkosler remembering that you can release that good bee for 100 rupees.
Oh, it's very smart, yes. Getting a little bit closer to Zora Cash there.
Yeah, we never got to see what the bush crab is, but there is one on the way to the fake flipper, so that may actually be when we end up seeing it.
One of the tree pull tiers is just hearts, so I don't think I've seen the other tiers for the tree pull either.
Based on what they've killed and what damage they've taken, it should be tier 2 because they killed 4 and took damage. If they kill 4 without taking damage, they'll get tier 3. If they do anything less than 4, it'll be tier 1. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely opportunities to check it. The 4 without damage, probably harder though. We're going to find out what our boots locked item is here in the library next. We found some love on a shelf, and Numberplay here is going to opt to check the race game instead of diving into it full tilt, and it's a mirror.
Oh,
He
careful
almost
there.
saves and quits.
That muscle memory of, race game. Oh, race game never has anything good, and when it does... mkosler doing the same here. Doing exactly the same.
These runners,
Sword slashes.
these guys really need to reflect on why they're here at the race game in the first place.
I see what you did there.
And, the mirror image of that pun was what you saw.
Oh, and mkosler's out of bombs, has to walk back to Kakariko to restock.
Now, there is some alternate routing that some runners may choose to do. There aren't any that we're going to need until Link's house, so you could go east and then to the bomb shop just north of Lake Hylia. That could also work. But he hasn't checked to see what's this way, and he wouldn't want to... Oh, no, he did everything. Oh, he needs the bomb for that wall. I'm sorry, I completely missed that. But we are going to see the bush crab here, possibly lumberjack as well.
Oh, 20 rupees. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's about as good as you can hope for. Magic wouldn't have been bad either.
Bugnet locked behind Aghanim, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a soft lock, right?
I think so, yeah.
Swagging him, not possible.
Yeah, no swag. Let's see. I think Numberplay might be making the Death Mountain play here, which is why they went that direction, while mkosler's going the more traditional route of the South Hylia area.
Yeah, so Aegina's Cave and possibly Desert. So he just looks like if he ends up going west from the dam here, he probably will be going through Desert because he has everything he needs. I mean, we do have access to Hera, and we can complete it. It's kind of a tough call to make. I mean, there's a lot of things you could end up getting on Death Mountain if you find good items on Death Mountain. Same can be said at Desert. You could end up routing other stuff very well. I see boots in Desert all the time these days.
Right, I think the one big thing with Death Mountain is I know some people like to wait until they have either hookshot or hammer or Titan's mitts or just like all of those things so they can clear Light World Death Mountain and Dark World Death Mountain, both sides all at once, and get, big old treasure trove of items up there.
It's a very fair point to make. You don't want to make too many climbs of the mountain. It's always nice to get the portal active, but so far Numberplay hasn't found anything. It's a piece of heart and a big 20. Also, chat making a very good point. I'm not exactly sure why the old man followed that disembodied lamp held in the air, but it did get him out of the mountain, so I guess it was a good decision.
So Yeah, Generous Man's Cave here. Not much, you know, everybody's first shield and the legendary single arrow, but nothing progression-wise.
And we only got a brief glimpse of the map there. I think the only thing I saw was just a 5-6 crystal at Skull Woods.
Oh, wow! I don't think they're going to go for that.
And you know, the silly thing is, too, is as far as time investment goes for silvers, like, if I was in mkosler's shoes, he runs NMG, so, like, you can kind of get this, you know, sense in the back of your mind. Like, it usually costs you 1.5, 2 minutes, and routing decisions to get silvers and that. If you can get it for just the price of one mirror right outside GT, like,
Yeah, and that's if mkosler decides to check that area, though, because he might not. Maybe he'll check it when he gets up to Hera area, and he's going to save and quit out of the Ice Rod Cave after getting a Toasty Shield.
Yeah, as far as shields go, my personal favorite is the magic shield, because, you know, those fireballs are probably the most annoying thing. I don't really worry too much about laser bridge. Well, Numberplay's looking pretty low on health right now. I mean, in my shoes, I would definitely be hitting this switch. He's going to hit the switch just in case. No point in climbing this tower twice.
Ooh, nice fairy drop. And a nice rod.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a thing. That's, you know, we don't necessarily know what Turtle Rock is yet, so if we can figure that out, if we get another map check,
Apparently,
that may end up being relevant.
Apparently, Turtle Rock is possibly another pendant. From what chat is saying, the chat said blue pendant. I thought that blue pendant was Eastern.
Yeah, I thought so too, but the colors look kind of strange on Numberplay's screen when we saw that map check earlier. Well, at this point, though, we're going to get that Moldorn fight. This is going to be pretty standard, just like NMG, actually, with just Fighter Sword to work with.
Yeah, make sure you spin. Try to spin on Moldorn so he doesn't go into rage mode.
Well, with Fighter Sword, it'll do the same damage with the spin.
Aha.
The rest of the swords, though, well, I mean, Master Sword and Tempered Sword do more damage. Gold Sword would just do the same as well. Oh, I see. So we do have the other 5-6 crystal at Ice Palace, and it's green pendant for Turtle Rock with red pendant at Palace of Darkness, which is interesting because, you know, what if it ends up being Sahasrahla?
Progression at Sahasrahla with green pendant Turtle Rock. It looks like mkosler is going to check out this tablet since he's up here. Get that information that the silver arrows are there. Double checking just to make sure.
See, that's what I was talking about, though. Like, I swear, the NMG instinct is just like, are you serious?
Did I read that right? Was the book upside down?
Is this actually Gatorade I'm drinking right now? Well, with that, though, Numberplay has some decisions to make. I'm going to head south to check all the things that we've missed here, and possibly head towards Desert. That's still on the table, but it looks like he's not going that way right now. Although, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what's really going on screen. I don't see anything at all. The camera just keeps panning. There's these explosions. People go into caves somehow.
There's a little floating shield on the one side.
I'm not exactly sure what he did to make that possible, but there is a levitating shield, and it is clearing Tower of Hera right now. And would you look at that, both of our runners have managed to levitate their shields.
You're a wizard, Link! He has to be. He's got Fire Rod, Ice Rod, a lamp, levitating shield.
The theory does hold so far, actually. We find out that the big chest in Tower of Hera was just 5 rupees. I don't think... Numberplay got that, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure that he also did the bomb jump across.
But at the moment, we got Numberplay also finding 5 rupees in the dam. He's going to drain the water here. We'll see what he does after that, because that's seemingly the big choice to make here. So chat's pointing out something pretty interesting. None of the dungeons besides Ganon's Tower require bow. And that means we could find bow in Ganon's Tower.
How about bow in Ganon's Tower big chest?
Oh, crikey. I'm not Australian, I shouldn't have said that, but still, wow! And we find the bloomerang in the desert ledge, which I think is worth getting, but I don't think these runners will. Did that shield just pray?
Whatever it did open up the path to Desert Palace. I mean, it did read a book earlier, so... Or, no, nothing read a book earlier on that side. I don't know, this seed is just so magical. Chat calling us out that we wanted a nice seed, and here we are making all these troll suggestions.
I mean, the glass is 50% filled.
It's the desire sensor. It's something you learn when playing mobile games. The more you want something... Ooh, moon pearl. So we weren't even talking about the moon pearl, so he got it. It's what the desire sensor wants.
Wish for it and it shall be, the moon pearl and the cape. The cape. The cape. Does that mean there's a still decent chance that we end up seeing Aghanim here?
The Numberplay just skipping the rest of Desert, maybe saving it for later with comboing the back half of it with doing Mire. Was that was both? Was all the play? Let me reword that. Was that all the items in Desert?
Yes, I believe so. Those 2 on the right side. Yeah, that should be it. So with that in mind, Numberplay not going to opt to finish Desert right now. Can do so like with Mire, like you mentioned. So that'd be kind of the handy way to do it. Going towards Eastern now because there are a few Sahasrara items, Sriracha Sauce items, Shamalama Ding Dong items. I don't even know. Because
that first chest in Desert was a key, and the 2 items on the right side were both items, big keys on the torch. Desert is boots locked.
Thank you for having better knowledge of the key logic. Wow, some early medallions today. We found Ether in Agina's cave, and Numberplay finding Bombos behind the old man. Or the cowboy, depending on how you see it.
I had to thank Lance Drago in chat there for revealing those key things about Desert Palace there.
I'm surprised by how little we're seeing reactions from this Moon Pearl. I mean, that's always a shock to find it in like a spot like that. Although I imagine the cape would have got even more reactions.
Yeah, especially if they had found, cape without the Moon Pearl. That would have been more of a uh-oh type of thing. But at least with Moon Pearl, maybe something like, the gloves or hammer or something like that is lurking in these last few locations.
Well, here in Eastern Palace, we don't have the benefit of boots or hookshot to make this faster, but we will be able to check everything that's in here, including, well, with the exception of Armos, unless we find the bow in here.
Good question. If they're already invisible, what does the cape do?
I can't divide by 0. Karaoke, you're making me think too hard.
Sorry.
Yuta.exe has crashed.
Oh man, am I running this alone now?
Hopefully not. I'll try to hit the reboot button. I hear if you turn it off and turn it back on again.
Alright, we'll just wait on that then. Anyway,
However,
Numberplay. Numberplay not
yeah,
finding too much in Eastern here.
Do you remember if we found the compass? I think we have all but one dungeon item besides the big key, right?
Maybe?
Oh, we did get the big
at least
key.
with... Yeah, we got the big key. Open the big chest there. Well, at least with they got the early lamp, then, they'll have to do these dark rooms here. That's always very nice. I've noticed that lamp has been a very late find in V29, quite often.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we got that so early. I mean, we see a lot of dark room logic gates in this logic very often, so that was a pretty interesting thing to find early on. And that's another reason that, a lot of people here in chat are also, talking about Aghanim, because oftentimes that's the one thing that kind of points you towards it when you don't expect to find it early. Well, if we didn't find that compass, then Armos would have it. So we would be able to hold off on that for now.
Right, at that final point there, Eastern isn't completable because they don't have the bow yet.
But we see Numberplay pulling out that cape. You know what time it is, folks. Aghanim 1, we're on our way.
We got an Aghanim seed. Maybe us saying that it's going to be a nice seed, the seed was just kind of like, no, I don't think so. Because nobody likes doing Aghanim 1. It's a good, 3, 4, 5 minute time sink with no real payoff other than entrance to the Dark World.
Yeah, and while it was possible for both of our runners to fake flipper and water walk to explore basically the waterfall cave, and as it turns out, nothing happens when they use the cape. But while they could have sequence broke, it didn't, only 3 items, it probably wouldn't have been that valuable.
Now they do have the gloves, so Zora himself alone was in play. By lifting the rock up by the witch's hut, but otherwise all those other nifty places up by Zora would require, fancy shenanigans to get through.
Another thing that folks that you may want to consider is that doing Zora with Catfish, if you think that Zora probably doesn't have your Dark World access, then you can at least get that checked when you go to Catfish. I mean, this is not like a completely negative time sink, presuming, of course, you think your opponent would do the same thing. Now, we don't know what mkosler is going to do. He may opt to go to Zora first. Wow, this is such a cash-heavy seed so far. I mean, we're only half an hour in, and both of our runners pretty much at the 1,000, 1,100 mark.
Yeah, mkosler heading south. I smell a fake flipper coming.
I mean, it's beginning to look a lot like it's perfect, game mechanics. Nothing oversight at all in the code. We don't have flippers, but it's totally intended that if you're 1 pixel away from the screen transition and you move in the first 2 frames, that you'll just automatically have flippers.
Yeah, you must have them if you're swimming, right?
Absolutely. There's no other way that you could do that screen transition otherwise, so the game just assumes. Interestingly enough, though, we're not even looking at the Lake Hylia Island, which could potentially have an important item. We're just going to go right to Hobo.
Yeah, he might check it on the way back, because usually when people do this, at least at this skill level, they're going to check Hobo, fake flipper out of Hobo, swim back down, warp to Zora. Hobo just has some love for us today. Nice fake flipper on a Hobo. That's a tough one to get.
Yeah, it's deceptive where you have to stand and how you have to, press against the ledge to actually do the jump right. I mess it up every time.
And especially so with a, invisible sprite here. Meanwhile, Numberplay, fighting the first form of the Math Wizard.
Yeah, so the Aghanim fight normally would be a 5 attack cycle, and it's still a 5 attack cycle in this, but the first is always guaranteed to be a reflective attack. The 5th is always a lighting attack you can't do anything about. But 2, 3, and 4 would normally be a 50-50 chance, and it's 6 hits. The RNG is set for Randomizer, though, so when mkosler does this, if he decides to, he'll have the exact same stuff. But we have a mushroom in Waterfall Cave. So, I mean, that makes it the hidden drug stash, right?
Something like that. There's just a little rupee on the pyramid, so no progression there. But Numberplay has opened up the northeast, Dark World area, heading up towards the catfish. Probably going to combo catfish and Zora here.
Now, I believe that there's a fake flipper setup you can do entering and exiting Zora's domain, but I might be wrong about that. But that would be his way to access that waterfall cave. Looks like a heart container for 500 rupees today. Not the best thing. Though I think at one point I bid more than that in Wind Waker for a heart container, so I can't really judge myself on that, or I can't really judge him on that.
You have to wonder how the Hyrulean economy has changed between now and then, huh?
I mean, money literally grows on trees. But the Quake monster, the catfish, more commonly or colloquially known as, is going to give us an item here. 10 of them, even.
10 pointy sticks. No wonder he's been quaking around.
I don't have a response for that. I can't raise on that one. We do get a mushroom turn in here for mkosler, and Numberplay was not able to check Waterfall Cave. So if the mushroom is important, or if we have like a late flippers, and this leads to something important, that would be a big play. A big 20, not what we're hoping for. We get a hard reset from mkosler there.
Gonna save that mushroom for possible use later. Meanwhile, Numberplay is gonna take a dip over into the pod area, give some money to the grubbing monkey.
Yep, Kiki's our favorite extortionist from this game. Going to require 110 rupees. We have plenty to work with here, though.
Numberplay being a little bit careful here. Green male in the Dark World, just 2 hearts left. You don't want to get hugged by anything.
Yep, those hugs would be lethal. And if he gets hit with Kiki following him, he'll actually have to give him 10 more rupees to follow him again. And this is actually a pretty scary dungeon overall to be doing with this health count, so it might end up taking a death warp in the basement here. If we find a small key and want to continue. We do have a blue potion, so we could do the camera manipulation glitch on the right side.
Alright, there's that small key. And looks like, considering the path he's going, looks like he may be going for that glitch there.
So just the basic gist of what we're going to see here, because it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to kill the 3 enemies in the hallway ahead, and what we're going to do next is we're going to use a potion while we're scrolling the screen left. And by doing so, we mess with the camera's lock settings in the next room ahead, which we normally need the bow to progress through. By manipulating the mimics or the Igors, so that, they're mimics. By manipulating the mimics off camera, we'll be able to trick the game into thinking they're all dead. Now we can kill these green ones, so looks like Numberplay is just going to do that to keep things a little simpler, at least with this one up here. And there you have it. Easy peasy.
Nice job. One of the more recently found tricks in the game.
Well, our reward is 2 items, and unless we find the hammer, I'm not going to be able to go any further on this side. That's interesting. So, both the boss... Oh, of course, always the boss, but not only that, but the big key chest, both locked behind the bow. At the same time, though, mkosler over here is taking on Aghanim. We're watching our princess become another crystal.
I guess it's hammer time.
Yeah, Numberplay won't stop, but it is hammer time. That's a great find. I mean, if you were just going in here to check, through these items, great and all, but with that hammer, it's a lot easier to, kind of get through everything that you can find here. He's going to have a chance to get that big chest as well. Now, if he somehow found the bow in here, he would probably complete this.
Would that be possible, though, with, I haven't really, checked how the keys would line up to see if that's even possible that bow would be this far back.
Oh, good point, good point. That's something I'm a little less versed in, so... Well, I think so, because nothing on the right side has used a key, has it? Oh, you mean the big key and based on everything else. Okay. That's more stuff I'm not that great at.
Key math, how's it work?
Well, speaking of keys, we are about to be replete with them, and a big 20. Looks like mkosler has the same idea.
Yeah, considering that they are kind of locked into this area of the Dark World, this is pretty much the only way they can go. With the hammer required for progression being in this area. So yeah, that hammer could not be locked behind bow unless there was some mystical location they didn't check along the way in where they've been that would have the bow.
And we have flippers as well, so with the flippers being in the dark maze here and Numberplay being able to check that big key chest, mkosler probably going to do the same thing, I have to think. We'll get all the items possible here. There isn't one on Helmasaur King, it doesn't look like. But that gives us a lot of access to the rest of the Dark World.
And by finding the flippers, that'll close the sequence break loop that mkosler ended up doing with the check with his Hobo and Waterfall Cave.
No, I don't think Numberplay has... He didn't go to Zora at that time, did he?
No, Numberplay didn't. mkosler did. Sequence broke with the fake flippers. Once they find the flippers in the dark maze, it'll close all those locations that they had looked at.
Ah, right. Well, we're going to get a Hype Cave check immediately, which is a pretty common place to go, or at least start your Dark World travels. We'll be able to check a couple of extra things that we normally can't on our first pass, which would be K45 for a lot of people, and many seeds. And then, of course, Stumpy in the dig game. We don't have Titan's Mitts, though, so getting that blacksmith's a little more difficult.
Heart, money, little heart, money. Yeah, it's like, 2 out of 10 hype.
Yeah, the index is crashing right now. You may want to sell your hype stocks.
Back in my day, hype was a great commodity to own.
Back in my day, the pendants and crystals weren't randomized. Shakes stick.
Shakes cane.
Yes, yes, yes. But would be Berna or Samaria for you?
I mean, if we're talking about, old days of, useless old canes and whatnot, it'd probably be Cane of Burna.
Correct answer in my eyes. But we also get the potion glitch out of mkosler there, so both these runners have done all of the same checks. Numberplay with a bit of a head start here. Holy moly, medallions. Oh yeah, so it looks like Numberplay hasn't done Agina's Cave.
All the early medallions mean they're guaranteed to get into wherever they want to get into, which is probably a nice feeling to have.
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, it's a mixed bag because you're like, oh great, now I might have to. But at the same time, I 100% agree with you. It's a lot nicer to not have to worry at all.
Not worry that medallion, which can be anywhere, might be, on pedestal or somewhere stupid like that.
Well, you can have up to 30 digs here in the dig game. We're going to find it in a little bit less than that. We did have a little bit of item find sync there. Both of our runners finding quiver upgrades for 5 arrows. Unfortunately for Numberplay, he is up against Usain Bolt, the fastest guard in Hyrule.
Yeah, the overworld does get upgraded when you defeat Aghanim 1, so stronger guards can be wandering the streets.
I guess the red guard there, Usain Bolt, would basically be the feds.
Something like that?
I might want to tone down on the US-specific jokes. There are people from around the world watching this broadcast, and thank you folks for tuning in.
Numberplay heading up into the Lost Woods to do the long way around to get into the Village Outcast area. I've seen many players forget that they don't have the mitts, especially when it gets very late into the sea and they walk up to that rock and, they can't lift it.
Yeah, that's a problem that a lot of people have in a lot of situations. It's always embarrassing when you forget, hey, I just don't have that lift upgrade yet. You have all these other items to get into places. So definitely not a weird thing to see from anybody. Plus, folks who do like NMG as well have even more muscle memory to kind of have to conflict with. Interestingly enough, mkosler didn't even check the pyramid. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, it's a good thing it's a useless item.
I mean, there are other opportunities, or you may have actually seen it, and I might not have caught that, but I thought you just finished Aghanim. Well, Skull Woods, traditionally in previous logics, was an important location to find, one of 2 progression items, potentially. Or 2, if you have a really nice Skull Woods, but Numberplay is going to dive right to the back here. And it looks like chat's correcting me. mkosler did actually see Pyramid, so glad, because that was really weird to me. Well, we do check that first item. As for the second item in the back half here, we're going to have to kill some enemies with a pretty weak sword to get to it. We don't have half magic to work with and no potion to refill magic, so this is kind of a difficult Skull Woods to be completing right now.
Yeah, both players deciding to use that blue potion that they picked up for free to do the potion glitch. That's what you call that thing. So, I mean, I trust these players, considering they're, going for bombo strats to kill the mummies.
That's both time and magic efficient. Very smart thing to do. Probably can get all of his magic back if he picks up those 2 pots. Yeah, so he's back where he was. Really savvy decision. He's going to have a few extra shots to use against Moldorm. Or not Moldorm, Mothula.
Yeah, the other bug. It's okay. All the bosses in this game are either bugs or eyeballs, so it's understandable that you get confused.
You know, the other downside to having Fighter Sword here is you got a lot of enemies to contend with, and they have a fair amount of HP in this room.
Yeah, even with upgraded swords, those Gibdos can be pretty tough, and Numberplay trying to get some extra health here before heading into Moth.
Yeah, not having boots either, so you can't really get the poke dashes to start the fight. I mean, ooh, and he gets grabbed. Moldorm, mini Moldorm being the worst troll possible.
Oh, now it drops a heart. I have seen fairies be drops in some of the drop pools for enemies. I think he was hoping for that too.
Yeah, we have seen it in this seed. Good thing is he is remembering where the heart spawns are normally. Unfortunately, gotta kill these mummies again, and they're just gonna opt for fire rod strats because of how much time he's already spent. Position here is not really improving much. Goodness gracious. Numberplay. Come on, please. I'm kind of surprised to see mkosler going back into Thieves' hideout. Not sure what he was expecting to find there.
Yeah, I was wondering. I caught that out of the corner of my eye there. That was he thinking that he forgot something, or?
That appears to be the case, but he is heading back for that portal. Oh, Numberplay getting sniped by Mothula. Wow, what a gutsy decision. Dives right back in again.
There's still... I don't think he's checked the Village of Outcast yet, or Thieves Town, so there's still, decent amounts of overworld and, quote-unquote easier places to go through, but...
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to get an interview with these guys, figure out where their heads are at this point in the seed, because this is the interesting decisions that we're seeing. Ooh, Numberplay's got to be really careful with his magic here. He can't afford to kill this mummy.
Ooh, just barely making it there.
Well, how confident are you today, Numberplay, with your Mothula fighter sword strats? Because that's all you got.
Numberplay just went straight to the back of Skull Woods, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Alright, yeah. mkosler doing the front half first here. Probably hoping for something.
I thought I saw a fire rod shot from Numberplay with zero magic.
No, he picked up a, there's that tiny little magic pot you can get. Yes, he was able to do that one shot there, otherwise... Poking with our baby sword. Dodging the spikes, dodging the fireballs. Moving floor.
I was kind of surprised to see him not attempt like a hammer moth with all the health he had walking into this fight, because it does the same
yeah.
Although it is extremely difficult.
Oof. Spike in the butt.
Well, we're seeing a second medallion usage. mkosler here will use ether to kill off these mummies. Kind of smart. Good heads-up decision with fighter sword. We were hoping for a nice seed, but this isn't even looking like it. But hey, we have a check here.
Aww, just couch cash.
Unfortunately, just the tip for the pizza driver. Hopefully you're a little more generous than couch cash, but not a whole lot that is going to spur us towards any pendants if we can help avoiding it. We get a high five, though. Kind of hard to imagine that mkosler's in that much better of a position, has a few extra max hearts to work with, but not much else.
I'm surprised neither of them has, decided to go down to Thieves Town instead.
Same here. I mean, I wouldn't mind coming back to Skullwoods. It's pretty fast. Well, it looks like some of our folks out there are joining from other races. Just to kind of give you guys fill you guys in on what's been going on so far in the seed. It's been pretty straightforward. We found Moon Pearl pretty early. We had Fire Rod start. We also had an Aghanim requirement just to get Dark World access. So our runners have been through Palace of Darkness. Not able to complete it. They did find Hammer there. And now they're making their way to the west side of the Dark World. But none of them have really explored Village of Outcasts or Thieves Town.
The sword came pretty early, but no sword since then. mkosler looks like he's gonna try to do hammer moth strats here.
Well, man after my own heart, he definitely prefers the damage that you get from it, but he's getting really friendly moth RNG as well. This is where it gets really tough, though. You can't really do hammer strats when he's above you. Oh, he pulls it off, though.
You know what I call that boss fight?
What do you call that boss fight?
Smashing.
Smashing. I love it. Numberplay does take a death here, though. I mean, this has got to be that point where you turn away from it. Well, we will get all of the items out of Skull Woods except for the one on Mothula, which we now know is a big 20. But Numberplay will have to figure out what he's going to do next. I mean, it's got to be Thieves Town. I can't think of why you wouldn't. And for those of you just tuning in, we've already seen this pedestal. This is just Couch Cash. Well, mkosler's getting coasted by the thief in the woods.
Ha.
Only losing some bombs and arrows.
Ha!
I mean, when name's illiterate.
Numberplay checking out the bumper cave, just 20 rupees there as well.
You know, when we look at everything so far, 53 minutes into the seed, there's really not much separating these runners. We know that mkosler can definitely go get Ether at any point that he wants to in Agina's cave. Not too worried about that right now. But not much difference in their item collection.
Both of them hitting up Village of Outcasts to clear out that area and probably dip into Thieves Town afterwards. Or right now, that works too, as most people say the first 4 chests in Thieves Town are basically overworld.
I mean, it's accessible as soon as you can get to Village of Outcasts. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty fair to call it that. One of these 4 chests will definitely be the big key, because you can't get to the rest without it. But that does leave us with quite a few opportunities for items, so progression tends to be stacked here. Our progression towards all the big 20s has been incremented by 1, though. Yes, for those of you just tuning in, we're actually using the Levitating Shield Sprite, apparently.
And no, putting the cape on does not divide Hyrule by 0.
Yeah, chat rightly pointing out that your shield does become invisible.
Aha. So it's the shield that's bonking into everything. I understand.
It makes sense. I mean, Cape of Invisibility covers just the shield. But so far, something is guiding this shield to complete Thieves Town. This shield apparently can also open chests on its own. Quite the magic spell. You know, though, I don't think blind really knows the difference.
I wouldn't think so either. It's kind of hard to see.
And we won't even be able to tell if we get the God Pixel here, but it won't matter anyway. We don't have boots. If we did, though, if we were in the center of this... oh my gosh, I think mkosler had the lineup. But if he had the boots, he could have maybe made that with that RNG. As far as I can tell, though, Thieves Town's been proving to be a bit of a bust. Not a lot of other things we can do right now either, which... it's kind of gross. I think we can go to East Death Mountain. Well, we already did. No, we didn't do that yet.
Right, because Hammer was in Pod, and they haven't been up there since they did Hera.
Surprisingly, a large amount of Y inventory items cleared out for how few dungeons we've actually been to. One thing that a lot of people will note is that version 29, for a lot of people's opinion, seems to be skewing item progression a lot towards dungeons compared to previous versions. Or, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Overworld compared to dungeons.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, 27 for sure. I don't remember 28 much, because I don't think 28 was out for as long. That it, 27 was definitely dungeons, and I think that's where the term Value Woods came from, that usually progression was in Skull Woods, and that's why people got used to dipping in there quickly.
Gotta say, though, I admire the gumption of Numberplay right now with half or potentially a quarter a heart. Really fearlessly fighting through Thieves Town right now. If there is a boss fight that is clearable with half a heart and not too much concern, you could practice, blind a whole lot and not take any damage.
Doesn't it become basically a shmup by then?
Yeah, if things don't go right. Interesting fact about the boss fight before we see it. Every fourth fireball that Blind shoots from each of his heads is the one that will track Link's position. The rest of them shoot in predetermined random directions, depending on what angles they take for how long it takes you to finish each phase.
That is something I didn't know. Good to know. Oof. Numberplay picking up that heart and then immediately getting sniped in the butt. Ow. Not again.
Yeah, that's pretty painful. And then those horse heads really do hit hard as well for green males on top of it.
Shedding bombs.
That looks like a pretty good finish for mkosler, and yet another big 20 boss drop.
Yeah, I blinked. That blind must have been perfect. Because I blinked, I didn't see it. Like, I was blind too.
It was pretty close. Had he not done a sword spin and just held like a little bit left while holding down with the sword, you might have been able to sneak that third hit sooner, but for all functional purposes, it was a perfect blind fight.
Unfortunately for where the spot Numberplay died, he has to go all the way back down in the basement and get the girl again.
And the extra rough thing about it is we didn't find any progression in here.
Yeah, there's just been nothing. They've done both Skull Woods, cleared that, mkosler's cleared that, mkosler's cleared Thieves Town, and there's nothing.
Well, so I suppose they both traded some time sinks here with these boss fights. Certainly a painful thing to watch any runner go through, but I'm sure it feels a lot worse for them. But once they start finding some more of these progression items, it's going to be an opportunity for some cathartic butt kicking, I suppose, for the rest of the seed.
Yeah, here's hoping that, they find 3 sword upgrades, both male upgrades, and, the bow in a row or something like that, and they can just go on a rampage throughout Hyrule.
It would appear that mkosler here is going to check the graveyard ledge. That is the only thing he can access at this point in this direction.
Yeah, having to go the long way around because no upgraded lift. Can't check King's Tomb due to no boots. It's getting down to these little tiny one-off locations once again.
And I'm kind of curious as what it'll be. I mean, a lift upgrade seems pretty likely, but there's lots of things that we need right now.
Oof. To just bombs.
I'm like genuinely at a loss as to what we're gonna find or where. We haven't been through desert, have we? Oh no, it was boots locked.
Yep, desert is boots locked.
Huh. I mean, can you think of anything?
I mean, there's the bits of Eastside Death Mountain they can check.
Ah, yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, it's got to be there. Numberplay had a little bit of a desync with the fight, having to go through a little bit longer cycles. So yeah, it becomes a shoot 'em up as you mentioned, but does handle it, and with 4 hearts left, we'll finish up the fight.
Oof, murderdactyls. And the lag. This area is always pretty tough to get through, especially if you just want to do like a little tiny check and you're getting swarmed by 1, 2, was that 5 enemies there?
Pretty much, and you know, murderdactyls aptly named for the reason that they do a ton of damage to green male Link, and they're unlike the light world crows, which will give up on chasing after you after a while. These things really are out for blood. Well, we do not have a flute. Mkosler is going to walk his way up the mountain. You will be able to get a full heal from the uncle. I'm kind of surprised he didn't save and quit.
Yeah, could have just saved, quit, gone straight to the old man's house.
But the good news, though, is he is heading exactly in the right direction. Well, I believe Numberplay hasn't checked the hobo yet. This is something that mkosler fake flippered for.
Right, Numberplay doing probably all the flipper checks now.
It would appear mkosler is either going right to the right half of Death Mountain, or yeah, I thought he might have been thinking about Spike Cave because he does have a lot of hearts, but not something to worry about right now. Unfortunately, we don't have the Master Sword to pick up the silver arrows on this trip. Would have been like the best possible time, but on the bright side, it's right next to GT when we get to that. So it looks like our floating island is just 100 rupees. Definitely not going to make the trip to do that. We have more than enough for the rest of this race.
Now for an extra slow spiral cave. Don't even have hookshot to snipe the enemies, and gotta hit these moldworms twice, and no boots, and I'm gonna take a nap, okay?
Yeah, it's also known as Pump Cave if you like that technique. You can mash certain direction pads to try to get some extra frames, but you know, for 50 rupees, probably not worth it.
Okay, I'm up. It was just 50 rupees? Man, not even worth it.
But certainly a place you wouldn't want to miss, and a very annoying place to find boots. So we do have the 7 items here in Paradox Cave. We're going to get 2 in the first floor and 5 upstairs behind some mini moldworms. Chest number 1 here on the left is the Cane of Burna, and we have some green goo as well. Well, so our seed started off with lots of fire rod, and lamp immediately, and now we have the Cane of Burna. Is this the Trogdor strats we've been waiting for? Burninating everything?
So, is that why the sprite's invisible? Ooh, Titan's mitts. Finally! I was gonna say the sprite's invisible to cover up the fact that he's a dragon man with a buff arm.
Exactly, exactly.
Now with an extra buff arm that can lift the strongest and biggest of rocks.
Yeah, so I mean, my theory's holding up here. I mean, we're burninating the countryside, you know, we're super, you know, buff on one side, exactly only one side.
Yeah, 'cause it's only one glove, right?
But with that, though, I mean, we even lift, bro. We are currently able to go the Dark Death Mountain sequence without the hook shot, which is very handy. mkosler just double checking his map, making sure Turtle Rock wasn't like a crystal or something. So that gives us 2 items in Super Bunny Cave, and without that hook shot or boots, we can't check anything in Hookshot Cave.
That's another, big item location that they'll have to remember to check later. Numberplay following hot on mkosler's footsteps, doing the same spiral cave check here. Oh, there's a hook shot. Speaking of hook shots,
Talk about mountain of conveniences, just heaping on all of the things that we need to go further in this particular check.
so we're gonna call it Value Mountain from now on?
Certainly finding our progression, so I mean, progression cave also a possibility. So there's 5 items here in Hookshot Cave. We're about to check them all right now. First item is a lot of love, and it's a Saint card. Ooh. So, folks, if you missed it, that's our Master Sword here for mkosler, which does give us the chance to get that silver arrows. And if you're heading in that direction anyway, which you might do to just do the Spike Cave check, yeah, that's a possibility. I don't think he checked Turtle Rock, which I'm kind of surprised by.
I mean, considering it's a pendant, you kind of maybe don't want to. And besides, he's got all 3 medallions. He doesn't really need to. He knows he can get in there.
Oh, you're right. 100% right about that. Yeah, there's no need to check at all. But we are going to get those silvers at the same time. Numberplay is picking up the Titan's mitts, so maybe realizing that this is probably going to end up being the same play as his opponent. Everything's not going to see people leave the mountain right after that. We always see mkosler trying to take advantage of these bushes, which typically have a higher chance of spawning hearts or fairy. Very common NMG technique if you're trying to have full health for Mire. But he will use the hookshot to good effect here, and the cape to make sure he can get through this cave safely.
Still always a little bit nerve-wracking to watch them go through. They're going for the Cane of Brian here.
Oh, I forgot we just picked that up. Yeah, it's definitely more magic efficient.
But nothing really helpful.
The best part about it, though, is knowing that you don't have to check anything over there. So in theory, we're not going back to the mountain until it's GT time, but we could still find stuff in Turtle Rock. I mean, Trinex could potentially have bow if we can find that Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, or, Shashrala has it after beating Trinex for the green pendant.
That would be horrible. Yeah, just to reiterate, folks, we don't need bow for anything that is required. We know the pedestal is not anything at all besides some rupees. So it's very possible that we could find the bow in Ganon's Tower. That in mind, though, with both of those rods available to us, the only thing really holding us back from checking Turtle Rock right now is that cane. So I bet you both of our runners probably wish they had it just in case. But it also does keep them away from it for the time being, and they'll know that their opponent, couldn't check it either. mkosler's going to check to see what Bombos has as well.
Neom. Just 1 roasted chicken that turns into a fairy, and 20 rupees.
Well, there's a number of things we can do with the Titan's mitts. We will have the blacksmith combo chain, and I don't think either of our runners would have been able to, they wouldn't have been able to check Peg Cave. But mkosler is going to dive into Swamp Palace, which is definitely an item-dense choice.
think it's a good play. Definitely good play.
Yeah, many runners out there will avoid this like the plague, but it looks like Numberplay might be doing the exact same thing. There's just so many items in here. Even though left side is really annoying, you can check all the way to the back and try to exclude it, and play the odds on that one. Worst comes to worst, you just come through again, but it's definitely not worth it to skip this if you have the ability to clear it. So all things considered, besides Skull Woods, these runners do look pretty tied up. I mean, Numberplay can go back there and finish it as soon as he feels comfortable with his inventory.
Yeah, I definitely can see that after checking some of these more item-dense locations, hoping for something. He'd be hoping for something like, flute or bow on Mothula, possibly. Although I think they got both. They get both items, or is Mothula a big 20?
Mothula is a big 20. I think
big 20.
Every boss has been a big 20.
Bosses are just
20.
rolling in it.
I mean, the bush crab was big 20. I'm almost certain that the tier 3 tree pole will be big 20s. I still think that whoever's decision it was to make the number of big 20s in the pool 20 had something, like some kind of epiphany, really thought that through. I salute you. Well, Karaoke, how many items do you think we're going to find on the left side today, and what do you think it's going to be?
Stuff and things.
I like that.
Considering how dry the dungeons have been recently, it'd be really nice to find something. I mean, I think the only good dungeon we've had is Pod so far, with the flippers and the hammer being found in there. Otherwise, dungeons have been pretty, low-key, nothing decent in them.
Well, Karaoke, I mean, this dungeon can't possibly be dry.
True. Looks like mkosler isn't even going to give a check towards the left side just yet. Heading straight for the back.
Yeah, this is common but not universal. I mean, everybody's got a different strategy for how they approach the items that they do find in here. And we'll make decisions based on how many total items are left, even if they can't already exclude the left side when they're coming through here. You see, Numberplay is actually going to, I guess, make the numbers play, expecting to find item on the left. Did we find either the compass or the map yet?
I am not sure. There's the big key, though, in the back half.
Well, if we found either of those already, then there would definitely be an item on the left side no matter what. So, it is most efficient to clear the whole thing left to back if you're going to do every chest. Oh, wow, a tempered sword.
That's very handy for this boss. Very good timing.
Yeah, it's about as good as it gets. He's not going to find any other items. So yeah, that's the last best possible place to find it when you're in this dungeon. It changes the number of slashes we need for the puffs for Argus from 2 to 1, making it much faster to finish this fight. Oh no.
Oh no.
Numberplay may have made the play to get as many and count as many numbered chests and locations and items, but he had not calculated the flipped or unflipped value of that switch, unfortunately. Well, that's not the happiest mirror usage there. If he had a book out, he'd probably be spamming it. Well, this is putting Numberplay considerably further back. I mean, he had already had to, resolve to do a double dip of Skull Woods because of the boss. And this isn't even the boss this time. This is just, you know, kind of an unfortunate decision with the flooding the switch.
Yeah.
Or flooding the key.
Flooding the key and not being, and no other key being on that left side there to make up for it. He hasn't had the best luck, unfortunately, between the many deaths in Skull Woods and then flooding the key now. But let's all give our best feelings and hopes to Numberplay.
Yes, please send him your energy. We want to see this as close as we can get it going into Ganon's Tower. And it's Randomizer. You never know what's going to happen. And you certainly don't know because our runners are invisible. They're just holding up their shield with magic powers. Now, the one nice thing about these invisible sprites is that the shadow remains the same. So if you're doing bomb jumps based on shadow positions, like here in Ice Palace, it's really not that different.
Yeah, Ice Palace bomb jump being what I've seen is the #1 bomb jump recommended to learn for anybody interested in learning Link to the Past Randomizer.
And the same could likely be said about NMG as well. Between that and the Hammer Yum, which Randomizer, it's not as useful as it used to be, but definitely something worth knowing. Well, Numberplay will get the rest of the chests back here, and I'm not entirely certain, but it might be possible for him to exclude that one left side chest anyway.
Right, when he did pause before heading over to the back half, I saw there wasn't a map or compass found yet. So I think one of them is going to be in the big chest, and the other one is probably going to be on left side then.
Yeah, and that might explain why mkosler didn't jump back into the dungeon. Yeah, so in theory, there should be a compass on that other left side chest. Well, with that, though, mkosler is tearing through here. There's really not much else that we need for go mode. I mean, bow is still out there, but we don't need it for any dungeons we have to complete. We do still need the Cane of Samaria, though. And we need the boots in order to finish up Desert, I believe.
Yeah, there's a key, big key, or key, some sort of key, boots locked on the Desert Torch.
Looks like mkosler's going to take that key he just found and take it to the right side, able to explore a couple of extra chests without having to do some long looping.
Yeah, Ice Palace being that dungeon where they sort of expect you to do it sort of almost like 1.5 times to do it quote-unquote properly. Let's see what's in my least favorite chest of the game. Just the compass.
Now, why is that one your least favorite?
Because I forgot it existed at one point.
Yep, I would say I would wager that everybody has that chest somewhere in Hyrule. Left side swamp, chat asking about it. It had a piece of heart.
Yeah, Numberplay opened up one of the 2 chests over there for a piece of heart. The other one we're assuming has either the map or the compass.
Which I think would be the compass. I didn't catch anything in that Ice Palace chest. Did you see that last one mkosler opened?
That was a burrito.
Alright, spicy barbacoa is still frozen.
Ready to eat, just need to heat.
I like it. He will get this big key chest now, though. So this will have 50 rupees, which I'm not sure might be the last item of the dungeon. I think Cold Stare would have the compass at this point.
I think that math's out properly.
Oh no, there's still the iced tea room. I forgot.
Ah, yes, iced tea. Some iced tea to go with your burrito.
Yeah, Ice Palace is probably the most dynamic dungeon in the game as far as routing goes. Palace of Darkness would be a close second in my opinion. Plenty of different ways you can do this stuff. Whether or not you want to do any kind of glitches, exploits, bomb jumps, you have choices. The logic will always place things in a way that doesn't force you to do any of those.
Oh, good thing you checked that iced tea. There was a flute floating in it.
Holy moly, and it's color themed with the dungeon very well, but interestingly enough, I think Numberplay does want to check that other chest in the left half, because that's exactly what he's doing right now. So with that flute, we can now go to Misery Mire area. That gives us access to 3 chests outside of the dungeon. We have all the medallions, so we can go through there. Presuming that we find the Cane of Samaria in one of those locations, we should be able to full clear Misery Mire as well. But if we don't find that cane, we're kind of SOL.
Yeah, it's either diving into... Now, hopefully you find the cane in Misery Mire, otherwise... Well, it's not going to be in Desert because I got both items in Desert, and then that just leaves Pendant Dungeons.
And that definitely can't be Turtle Rock because we need to go in, so... By the looks of things, unless Land Mollis... No, we don't have boots, so... Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would have to be Mystery Mire. Or the Mire area. Yeah, chat pointing out that Numberplay, making some small mental errors here. I mean, when you've kind of had the run that you had with Mothula, with everything else going on, and the fact that the match isn't exactly make or break, it's kind of just pride. Certainly don't, fault him for kind of having these things cascade. When you start feeling rough about something, you end up feeling worse and worse. Well, Numberplay running low on options. I'm wondering if he's going to attempt to take on Mothula at this point.
At least with, a whole row and a half of hearts and Temperate Sword now, Moth will, burn up pretty easily.
And we can save more. We have the... I'm pretty sure we have a green potion at this point. We also have Temperate Sword to take out the mummies.
And mkosler playing a little toot on the flute.
Oh, you know what? We also have the Smith chain that they haven't done yet.
Yes, now that they have the Titan's Mist, they do have that whole little side quest to do.
It would appear the goose is loose. Interestingly enough, it looks like mkosler did attempt to do the altitude setup for the spooky action glitch there. So we may end up seeing that implemented here in his Misery Mire. Probably banking on finding that Cane of Samaria, and logically that is a sound expectation. Well then, powder. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Now sprinkling on the magic pot to summon a bat?
Yeah, that bat cave may have a cane. Could be Old Man Bruce Wayne's cave.
One of his gadgets.
Precisely.
Speaking of fetch quests...
Yo, dog, I heard you like fetch quests, so we put a fetch quest right alongside your fetch quest, so you can think about where your run's gonna die while it's dying.
I dig it.
Ouch! Oh, I can't re-raise on that. We are gonna get a Mothula fight, though, out of Numberplay. Much comfier, much cozier fight. Unfortunately, sword beams are kind of annoying in this fight.
You want to be hitting them with the actual sword, not the beam.
You'll see a lot of runners taking intentional harder damage just to avoid having this issue. All in all, pretty well fought, though. He gets his customary 20 to fight with, and just a piece of heart from the magic bat. I mean, at 15 hearts and an hour and 25 minutes in, you know, I guess you got to follow every non sequitur you can. Well, Mothula's down. Numberplay really running out of choices. Got to be thinking about Ice Palace at this point. Doesn't seem very obvious what else it possibly could be. Meanwhile, mkosler is going to do all of the stuff in the blacksmith chain, it looks like. Potentially routing in the shovel as well.
Yeah, good long string of items there. When at this point, you know, you want to string on these one-off locations as much as possible. Because we're getting kind of dry here.
Well, here comes our friend Jeremiah the Bullfrog. We get a high five on the way there, actually. Both of the runners doing the exact same thing, so we're just resynchronizing your race. Unfortunately for NMG fans out there, we're not going to get a fence dash today.
Doing it the slow and intended way. To mash all these hammer pegs down. And what's our reward this time?
International release version, Dan's game. We're going to get a mail upgrade.
Not going... Oh, nope. Double thinking that. No, maybe I actually do want a new pair of clothes. It's been a while since I've changed.
Yeah, our runners remembering that the time they just spent on that, probably worth picking it up considering it could save them a death. Ooh, chat's pointing out that we have both the 5 and 6 crystals, it looks like. I'm not 100% certain if that's right. I think it is, though. So we could potentially get a Pyramid Fairy check from mkosler.
Do you see that? You see what them breadsmiths have today?
Breadsmiths? They are cane smiths. They are smiths of Somalia.
mkosler straight up taking that right to Misery Mire while Numberplay continuing the chain and gonna go give Gary's lunch back to him.
Kind of hilarious that they find it at the exact same time and it takes them in different directions. Well, unfortunately for Walrus Prime fans out there, it's not a big day. We're not going to have a bird toss today. Even if the bird was still alive, it's Quake, unfortunately.
But wait, it's a bird. That means it's flying type. That means ground type isn't effective against it anyway. Would it just do nothing?
Oh,
wait.
Precisely. That's why Ether would be the preferred medallion there.
Yes, ice versus flying there. Link to the Past, doing Pokemon before Pokemon even came out.
And even if you want to look at it from a different angle, it could be lightning. I mean, that works too. But yeah, both would be effective. And props to the knowledge of ice being an effective thing. That was my secret too. Blastoise is the best, or Squirtle's best starter, objectively. But anyway, back to the rando action. I'm sorry. Numberplay here is going to head to Ice Palace. Do we have the Godmire today? Ouch.
Not even close.
Well, we know that the flute is the only thing we're going to find here in Ice Palace. Numberplay just 4 rupees away from an awesome rupee count, and mkosler is still looking for something here in Misery Mire. I mean, bow, boots, there's couple things left. That's not much.
Yeah, they're getting to the point where almost the entire grid's going to be filled out here. You know, we know where we seen one boomerang that they didn't pick up, and Bugnet was in Lumberjack Cave.
Yeah, so we're not too worried about finding that, and I mean, we can go get it. We just need those boots first. We have checked all of Eastern Palace. We have checked everything we can get in Palace of Darkness, I believe. Yeah, that should have been all the chests. So Mire and potentially Turtle Rock could have these 2 remaining items. It's almost looking like Turtle Rock is definitely necessary. If we found the bow, though, we could find whatever's on either Armos or Helmosaur.
Yeah, those might be quicker checks than doing all of Turtle Rock, but Turtle Rock would have more item locations to possibly do. So it's a toss-up.
Oh, there we go. An hour and 30, almost 1 minute into the seed. Finally, the run can start. Also, shout-outs and thanks to Ultimate Zeo Knight 15 for the speed gaming sub. Thank you. Now, we're going to find out whether or not the setup for the spooky action glitch will end up being used here. We manipulated the altitude setting for that bird outside in the overworld. And if we do a quick little dash before placing the Samaria block, we can preserve the altitude of that bird for the Fire Rod splash damage in the next couple screens here. Setup looked good. Oh yeah, that's golden. We call this spooky action at a distance.
Yeah, another relatively new, oh, nope, doesn't seem like it worked there.
So he may have had the altitude a little bit further off than he expected, and he might have been too high up in the screen. So all it does is just messes with the Y coordinate for the splash damage of the Fire Rod, so if you hit a sprite, it should hit through the wall. He was definitely high up enough in the screen to load the switch, so it wasn't set exactly right. There's a window that can work with it, but sometimes it's a little bit finicky.
Yeah, still something very new that a lot of people have just had to put a lot of time into it during the tournament to figure out how it works best for them.
Hey, well, shout-outs to our Randomizer's own Raspberry Floof, who helped discover it in the Speedruns Live SRL Discord for Link to the Past. Had this kind of behavior happen with the Cold Stare Ice Shell, and because of pointing it out to the people in the glitch hunting section of that server, we ended up finding out about the glitch and the real reason it happened. So that's like a 9-10 second speedrun save for the NMG run too as well. So shout-outs and thanks for your help on that one. So people in chat asking about bow being our go mode item. The real reason that we need it is not for any dungeons necessarily. It could be still required for dungeons. If we end up having to... Well, no, I mean, at this point, that's the only item we need, so... Huh. But we would definitely need it in Ganon's Tower for the mimics. No way around that.
Yeah, so it's, do you take the risk after finishing Mire here and Desert Palace and beat those and then go to Ganon's Tower, hoping that the bow is somewhere in there, or do you clear out some of these pendant dungeons?
At which point, I mean, if you make the gamble and you commit to Ganon's Tower, I gotta think that you check all 22 of those chests. Well, Numberplay has done everything in Ice Palace. Definitely a much longer dungeon when you have to full clear it like both of these runners did today, but we'll be moving on to the Cold Stare fight. while mkosler is taking care of Misery Mire. This almost looks like the difference between Tempered Sword and Gold Sword routes. Some really smart use of bombos here to save magic. We'll be able to use some more of that against the puffballs, or the eyes as they are called. But with Tempered Sword, this is a pretty straightforward fight. It looks like the cold stairs gave us one bomb for each eye, and they definitely exploded as if there were several more bombs per eye. If you didn't know, pretty much every boss in this entire game is packed chock full with C4 and will explode excessively after you destroy it.
That's surprising that the dungeon doesn't go down with it. And mkosler, I think they got the boss key early from Mire and just went right back to the back. Defeated Vitreous, they did get that crystal, and then cleared the rest of the dungeon out, and didn't find anything worth there, so they're heading on into the desert for their last crystal.
Yep, we finally have those boots, so we can finish up everything in here.
Yep, there's that big key on the torch.
So I think chat's got the right idea at this point. Pretty much whenever our runners find bow, that's going to determine who has the actual progression advantage here. Because dungeons notwithstanding, if that bow is in a really crazy location or something very deep into the logic of the game, we've completed like all the dungeons we need to. It could be anybody's race at that point. One person luckily finding it could determine the entire thing. Isn't that something though, Karaoke? I mean, first chance for one of our runners to be at 7 wins, and it could all come down to bow.
Yeah, that's rude.
It could come down to Ganon's Tower big chest of bow.
Like I said, rude.
It could come down to Mimic's Cave bow. Trinex bow, even.
Mimic Cave isn't that bad. I mean, it's deep in there. Trinex is worse. GT Big Chest is even worse.
Yeah, I can't really think of much worse than GT Big Chest.
Yeah. Swashrala after getting green pendant on Trinex, pretty bad too.
Oh, yeah.
Just all these deep down buried bows underneath layers and layers of other clearing.
Well, even though there has been a dungeon difference between these runners, I'm at the edge of my seat about how this is going to finish up. This is just so exciting to try to figure out which of these 215 potential locations could it be. Or 216, yeah, but I think it's like -3 or 4 in the tower. Anyway.
Math is hard.
Perhaps we can consult Numberplay after this.
Alright, where are we off to next? Checking these boots lock locations.
Yeah, normally we would start the GT game, but we still haven't found it. I suppose once we see him head towards the mountain, that's when we'll start it. So, in your minds, folks, start to think of what you're going to select today, but we're not going to start it just yet. Big shout-outs, though, to our tracker, Dark and Sky, for, doing really well to keep up with this. Our runners have gone a couple different directions several times throughout the sea, doing a good job to keep up with it. mkosler's going to check the Lumberjack Cave, perhaps forgetting what was in there. And folks, I've been in the edge of the seat the whole time. I know you guys probably find this interesting with the sword slashes. Oh gosh, Kosler.
Whoops.
But if you've been enjoying this show, folks, please give these runners a follow. These are 7-0 runners. They're both going to be in the brackets. If you want to catch everything they do here in the tournament, absolutely give them a follow. Looks like we are heading to Ganon's Tower, though. Tell us a little bit about it, Karaoke. Or Karaoke.
All right. Oh, it's fine. Alright, so there are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower for the big key to be. 21 chests and 1 torch. Put your guesses in chat as to where that big key is going to be. And if you are a Speed Gaming subscriber or have cheered 250 bits across all Speed Gaming channels, you have a chance to win and get on the leaderboard and get our undying love, affection, and, ultimate kudos for knowing how this seed is going to be.
Undying love and affection must be claimed by April 31st, 2018 and cannot be redeemed for actual cash. Do you have a preference on where you think we're going to find the big key today?
I mean, I always just stick to the number 18 because I like that number. It's decently deep, but it's not like tile room deep or something really rude like that.
I am personally a fan, believer, fanboy, definitely a admirer of Bob. So I'm hoping for chest number 14, assuming right then left. Interesting thing to know here, though, may we have been a little early on this guessing game. Is mkosler going into Turok? No, he's opening it just in case.
Okay, my heart was doing the pity patty there.
Well, so fission mailed almost there on that one, but here we are entering into the crystal cutscene, and we will be entering Ganon's Tower in a moment. So get your last guesses in, because we will end that as soon as we hit the basement. Numberplay has found those boots, though, so we have everything we need from Misery Mire.
Well, that's not the big key, but that is the bow! And that was like about an hour, 41 minutes, and 20 seconds in Ganon's Tower. mkosler is in go mode.
So chest number 1 is not the big key, but it is the key to the seed.
I love it.
It couldn't be done any better in a Randomizer, honestly. Well, that's 3 item locations so far. Chest number 4 is going to be a big 20. Chest number 5, the big key. The 420 and then the big key. Oh my god, who is making these seeds?
And he's already got enough keys to head up the center. So if you guessed number 5 for the big chess game, you win!
And Chad also asking where the silvers are. They're just to the left of Ganon's Tower in the Ether Tablet. I'm just in shock. Like, I mean, what is this GT? What is this seed? Well, the rough thing for Numberplay is that still has to finish Lamb Molus, so... And also not getting the spooky action glitch either in the second half of Mire, unfortunately. But that puts him at a huge disadvantage as far as progression here goes for getting to the end of this race. This is definitely mkosler's race to lose.
Yeah, just with that one item being, in one of the last possible locations. Been a tough seed. Alright, mkosler, heading through the gauntlet here.
And at the same time, we'll get a Vitreous fight out of Numberplay, opting to use the Cane strat. It's a pretty safe way to go. Could definitely afford a damage boost, but might not be as familiar with doing it. Not a problem, though. Tempered Sword's plenty enough to work with. And so far, really great gauntlet out of mkosler. Not really having any issues. Falling back on some NMG experience, it looks like. Wow, sniping these Lamb Molus with the silver arrows, almost getting a 1 cycle from across the room. Very impressive.
It's definitely tough timing and tough aiming Gonna switch over here to Fire Rod for the last one.
I may have cursed him. We will get to see some very fast rooms ahead, though. We've got some whiz robes that we're going to exterminate with just 2 Cane of Samaria blocks and a slash.
Always one of my favorite things to do. It just looks so clean.
Yeah, this one was really satisfying to do. Oh, gets pretty good RNG through these guards, has some torches to light here. This is definitely a part of the game where you want to have that half magic, but no problem. We have plenty of magic refills available to us ahead as long as we don't run out before we get through this room. mkosler for getting one of the torches.
And it's been a little bit of a delay there, so we gotta wait for all of them to burn out before we go and relight them.
To make it through, but I mean, it was tight.
Oof, and then falling again by accident.
Alright, we Gucci. Not the best health situation, but we will have 2 powderable fairies, well, 1 anti-fairy and 1 bunny beam coming up ahead right before Moldorm 2, so should be in pretty good shape. Numberplay here is about to take care of Lamolus and will be on his way to Ganon's Tower immediately after.
Well, hopefully on his way to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, that's true. There's still plenty of places that he may think the bow is at, and I don't think anybody was expecting chest 1. Well, weapon of choice today for Numberplay is going to be the Fire Rod, since we don't have that bow yet for him. Having some really rough flight patterns in Phase 1. Looks like mkosler doesn't want to check the Vanilla 20 chest after Moldorm 2.
He's got this, no problem. That was a clean Moldorm fight as well. And Lamolus goes down on Numberplay's side. And here we are at the final form of the Math Wizard. I hope you've been studying up on your geometry and your angles.
SOHCAHTOA, right?
Something like that.
This is a cosine that's going to be a bad boss fight. Ooh, the triple! I love being proven wrong like that.
Yeah, he did miss on round 2, so it was like, I think a 2-0-3-1 there.
Certainly the best way to redeem it, though. You usually want to see around a 3 cycle. 2 is the fastest you can do if there's no blue balls, but oftentimes not the easiest to pull it off. The angles can be very difficult, and sword spins don't always make it possible. Well, so there are better pun makers in chat than me, and also here on the commentary couch with me. But we're going to get some fun biology facts from Ganon today. mkosler walking into this fight, he needs to get 12 slashes for each of these first 2 phases, and he doesn't get the 1 cycle on the first phase, but he could pull it off for the second phase. He's in a good position here. Looking pretty likely at this point.
Yeah, and getting in that Ring of Fire, I'm definitely feeling this match here.
Apparently, the Johnny Cash strat's working pretty well. He's standing inside the Ring of Fire.
Haha.
He may have even fallen into it.
Goodness gracious. Great bats of fire.
Well, Ganon does use the fire bat, so maybe love is a burning thing. Alrighty then, but it's only 4 hits here for the 3rd phase of the Ganon fight. Phase 4, we would normally need 12 sword spins if you do an NMG, but this is just 4 silver arrows since we have them. Oh no!
Oh no!
One of the downfalls or distractions or worst things that can happen when you play with the invisible sprite is you can kind of forget where the ledge is compared to you. I mean, definitely important that we picked up shields for the first place, but that's an annoying time loss. One thing that mkosler may end up having to worry about here is his magic and his health, but he's done Tempered Ganon. I mean, that's the energy run. Should be able to recover this.
Yeah, might go for Torch Glitch on the second time around. Wasn't in the best position to hit it the first time. But, alright, let's do this again.
And Numberplay has entered Go mode as well, so it's about a 5 or 6 minute difference, which is roughly Ganon's tower itself. So he has managed to shrink the gap a little bit. Looking pretty good for that 1-in-1 cycle. 1 heart left, though.
Definitely could notice the rage slashes there, hitting Ganon just straight through the Ring of Fire.
Yeah, so another thing to notice is that in a refight, the warps are now random. So they'll have the same number of Ganon warps in this phase the first time around, but after that, who knows? mkosler doing okay with it.
That was
Now
a
watch out for all these attacks.
friendlier warp pattern there this time, I think. But yeah, definitely have to be careful of bumping into Ganon or getting hit by any fire bats.
I find that very interesting they switched to lamp. I mean, really only needs to get these lamps twice, but... Oh, well, I guess it was pretty conservative. It makes sense.
You just want to be safe after that fall and under half magic left over, but he gets it.
Well, with that, some disembodied sword is going to sit through the victory fanfare, having murdered the King of Evil, and he will walk into the Triforce room with an official speed racing TV time of 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 27 seconds. GG's in chat, folks. It would appear that mkosler would like to join us for an interview, so we'll see about getting him in here in a moment. In the meantime, folks, cheer on his opponent, Numberplay, who is finishing up Ganon's tower in fast order at this point, now in the gauntlet. And as we mentioned before, these are definitely runners to watch for the rest of this tournament. Give them a follow. You definitely want to see this and possibly the way that they practice, as they are obviously very good. But I'd like to first, shout outs to mkosler being the first one to 7-0.
Yep, big congratulations there.
Actually, I should have just waited a second. Looks like he's in the waiting room. I'm going to pull him in. And we are joined by the victor of the match today, mkosler. Congratulations on 7-0.
Thanks. What a seed. What a ridiculous seed.
That seed went places.
And I felt like I played horribly. Like I went to, when I was in Misery Mire, you probably were like, I got the boots, and then I went straight to Vidi, and y'all were probably like, whoa, what is he doing? He still needs bow. Where's he going? And I just completely forgot that bow was even an item. God, I felt like I played horrible, but what are you going to do with that seed?
I'd definitely say that your first half was much better than your opponent's. Numberplay had number of issues on Skull Woods and Mothula at such a low heart count,
Right.
and Fighter Sword only.
Yeah. And our lovely choice of sprites.
Gotta commend you on having a sub 2 hour seed with Invisible Sprite. Have you practiced
fun
with the Invisible Sprite?
Say that again?
Have you practiced with this sprite?
When Numberplay and I saw that we were on the we were matched together, I just messaged him and was like, do you want it to be, do you want to put in some, some variations on our match? And he was like, what do you want to try? And I was like, invisible ink spray. And he was like, that sounds awesome. So other than maybe like 1 or 2 practice runs prior to the match today, no, not really.
Well, I think everybody who watched this was pretty impressed by some of the crazier things you've had to do. The two of you just talking about the fighter sword kill you had for, or the fighter sword kill for Mothula that we were worried about from before, and that was definitely a plague for Numberplay. But did you feel like there was anything that was, particularly well done by you in this seed, like something that, just really worked perfectly?
Well, it worked half perfectly. I set up for spooky action without even the boots, just going, let's just do the setup just in case I find boots. And then I did it, and I got the first half, but then I failed inside the middle room, which was a bit annoying. The hammer moth I thought went really well. What else?
That was really impressive to see.
Yeah, other than those two things, the seed kind of just drug you along to everything, and you because you were looking for bow and it was in GT, you kind of just had to full clear everything. So it was kind of annoying for a seed to when that kind of stuff happens.
Well, so I wanted to ask you, because I did see in your bio that you do run NMG, and I'm definitely a fan of that crowd as well. What do you think that you carry in with you as like the biggest strength from having done the speed run? I'm always interested in trying to get more people into it.
It just helps a lot with your execution, and especially in those boss fights. You also just feel the randomizer. Yeah, it's like you're running around to all these different locations, but you can kind of think of it as just you're still doing the NMG speed run, but it's just a weird little order. So all the stuff that you're going to get from an NMG run is going to help you tremendously in here, and vice versa. Like prior to this tournament, I was at like a 137, and then after like a week, after the last week, I decided to throw in a few races, NMG runs, and I got down to like a 133 or whatever. So it definitely works both ways. If you feel like you're really good in randomizer, then that skill is going to translate to NMG. If you feel like you're really good in NMG, that skill is probably going to translate to randomizer.
Well, I'm happy to see how much of the community has crossed over. I do want to jump real quick back to what we're seeing on screen, of course, because Numberplay is actually in the Ganon fight. Just had a death to Ganon, actually, trying to do some of the same strats that you were doing. Ended up getting the same warp positions. As we know, RNG here for warps is set in the Ganon fight. So getting the 1 and 2, it's kind of looking like at this point. But so we'll wrap this one up pretty quickly. I'm hoping that Numberplay will join us for an interview, because this is definitely the highest profile match we've had yet as far as the Swiss brackets go. You are 7-0. That's, how does that feel? I gotta ask you.
It's kind of amazing to me. Like even with the sort of NMG experience, I hadn't really played Link to the Past since January. Or not since January. I started in January. So I've put in a lot of time to sort of getting ready for this. I kind of was wanting to get ready for the NMG thing, but obviously I was a little too late for the sign up. And then I just sort of randomly picked up Randomizer because I was waiting for my SDT SNES to come in, because I wanted to do some real hardware runs instead of just emulator runs. And so I just picked up Randomizer. I started playing the nightlies, and it's been a blast. And again, like I said, I can't really believe that in this short time I've I'm 7-0 in this ridiculously stacked tournament.
Well, by the looks of things, it looks like Numberplay has killed the pig and will also be sub 2 hours as well. Looking at the official Speed Racing TV time, he does finish with 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 29 seconds. So GG's in chat, of course, to Numberplay. We'll see if Numberplay will join us for an interview as well. It looks like Numberplay is in the waiting room, so we'll bring Numberplay through. And we are joined by Numberplay. GG on finishing up the seed.
GG.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I managed to finish it.
Yeah, what a ridiculous seed.
Oh, you haven't seen what I've seen.
Numberplay, how do you feel about Mothula?
Never again. I'm gonna go there with Fighter Sword.
And we are joined by Numberplay. You
And
may have the game audio
from
in the
that
stream.
point on, everything went wrong.
managed to
I died
finish it.
in Thieves Town. I drowned
what
the
a
key in the
ridiculous seed.
swamp.
Oh,
You haven't seen
and I
what
died
I've
to Ganon
seen.
as well.
Yeah, I dropped
Numberplay,
again, and
how do you feel
where
about Mothula?
on phase 4, he
Never
just
again. I'm gonna go there
plopped
with
onto
Fighter
me
Sword.
right as he came out of the when he's invisible from the torches.
And
you may have the
from
game audio
from
in
that
the stream.
point on, everything went wrong. I died in Thieves Town.
Yeah, there was a
I drowned the
decent
key in
amount
the
of items
swamp.
early on, getting early sword, early
Ooh.
lamp,
And
decently
I
early
died to
gloves, and
Ganon
then it
as
just
well.
kind of slowly dried up from there. How'd you all feel about that one?
It was. I've been playing practice seeds, and it's been AGA all the time. So this just felt like more of the same. So the only thing that was a little annoying about this is I really like it more when usually when I've played AGA seeds, they might not have obviously they don't give you Dark World access except for AGA, but they at least give you a hook shot to get over to the other side, or hammer to get down to Hype Cave or something like that. And so I'm always wary that I'm missing at least one more thing when I have to go to AGA and like the only play I have is to go into Pod.
Right, yeah, I actually forgot that it was an Aghanim required seed there. At first, it's been so long, and it's so uncommon that it happens.
We've definitely been seeing a lot of races in this tournament that, people will try to do something like, Eastside Dark World, Water Walk or something, exotic to try to skip it. I actually saw a race earlier today where a skip was successful because of that. But we didn't see a whole lot of sequence breaks that didn't get resolved pretty quickly. It seemed like all of the loose ends that we had tied up pretty quickly.
And is it me or everything was in the dungeon?
Just about. I gotta ask though, did anybody else notice the big 20 trend at bosses?
No, I wasn't even paying attention. That's funny. I'll have to look at when I rewatch the VOD.
Well, in advance of that, I apologize for my bad puns. Karaoke probably made a whole lot better ones than I did, in my opinion, at least.
I'm not sure about that, but it was punny.
I look forward to it.
You may end up pontificating on that one as you watch it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that was scaring the bejesus out of me for as I was about to just go into GT was I did the bottle glitch in Pod, and I was pretty sure that I didn't break into the back and didn't break into a bow-locked backside. I was pretty sure, but I didn't know for certain. There was a lot of things I didn't know for certain. You might have saw me go into Blind's hut a second time because I was like, maybe I accidentally missed this thing. There was a lot of like second guessing I had during the seed, and that would have been the worst had I just completely forgot that. Oh, he broke into the locked pod, and the flips were back there, and now he's spending all this time full clearing GT when obviously it can't be there or whatever.
Well, thankfully the bow was the first item in GT.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were all talking about how, both of you could have potentially checked 22 chests anyway, even if you found the big key early. But yeah, that got killed pretty quick.
23 if you include the big chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were
know what?
joking early on that was possible.
I almost thought about going inside Turtle Rock before GT.
I opened TR as the just in case I didn't find it in GT. That was going to be my first place to start checking.
Yeah, our guessing game ran a little bit longer than normal because of that. We were like, uh-oh.
They're definitely a little bit nervous. They're like, oh, did we turn this thing on a little bit too soon? Oh, no, just opening it up just in case.
Oh, that's funny. Now I understand. Yeah, that would have been funny if you'd have started the guessing game and then 6 minutes later or whatever. Oh, now we finally get to stop it.
Would have been funny if I was the first one at GT, because I did get the silver arrows before going in.
I also, God, I played. I was all over the place when I picked up Cane of Burna on my tracker. I accidentally clicked Cane of Samaria, and I was like going over the thing in my head. Do I go into TR? Do I go into TR? And then as I was like, no, there's Swamp Palace, there's Ice Palace I can clear. And then I started thinking about it again. It's like, wait, that was the blue cane. That wasn't the red cane. It was I felt like I played pretty rough.
Well, so we always want to have a short-term memory, I guess, here in Randomizer. Definitely in this tournament, you don't want to let your next race influence your current race influence your next race too much. But I do want to ask you guys. I mean, you are some of the highest-ranking players in this Swiss round, and you may end up facing each other again at another point. I'll start with you, Numberplay. Do you think there's anything you're going to do to prepare for this elimination bracket starting next week?
I'm not sure I'm feeling great about this.
I don't know. I mean, you're 6-1, dude. Why you gotta feel bad? And even if you drop out, then whatever. You had a good time.
I feel like I could have lost most of my races. Actually, most of my wins were really close. Actually.
Yeah, I've had a couple. I leapfrogged Nikki Noel in GT one race. I barely beat Bentizi in a race that was basically go mode 6 dungeons. But yeah.
Well, it's always fun when there's an NMG grudge match like that and that particular scenario. So I gotta watch that VOD.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Well, it was kind of fun. It was Pendant Ice Palace into Shovel into Vanilla Flute, and then 7 items immediately came out of that. So you might want to skip to the second half of that VOD if you do good.
Duly noted. Well, I'll extend the same question to you, mkosler. Do you have anything you plan on doing to prepare for this next week?
Not really. What I've been doing, obviously, has been doing well. So just keep sort of grinding when I can, and just take it one match at a time. I didn't do much sports in school, so I'll use all my cliches right now.